Hello guys, it's nice to talk to you again. In this occasion I will be talking to you about pronouns. Pronouns are words that, as the name implies, take the place of nouns. Now, when we talk about a noun, we know that we have thousands of them. We keep creating nouns all the time, every day. We as society, we as humans, keep on creating nouns. Well, we keep creating language in general, but we don't create just any new kind of part of a speech. I hope you remember parts of a speech. There's what we call open classes and closed classes. What we create are open classes. What are the parts of a speech that classify in open classes? Well, we have verbs, we have adjectives, we have nouns. For example, these three, not only these three, but mostly it's these three different kinds. We keep creating new words that fall into these three categories. What are closed classes? They are the ones that do not get new members, to put it that way. They are words that are very limited, and instead of creating more, what we do is to eliminate some of the ones that already exist. I can tell you, for example, that among those words that disappeared are some prepositions. Some prepositions we do not use anymore. And that's a tendency on the closed classes. They tend to disappear. Among the closed classes, we have prepositions, as I just mentioned. We have also pronouns, and we also have determiners, which are not a part of a speech per se, but determiners we don't get more. On the contrary, they tend to disappear. Well, let's talk about pronouns per se. You'll see, let me see, here we go. This is an overview of the pronouns. What are pronouns? As I told you, they are noun equivalents. They do the same things that nouns do, and usually they work with antecedents. What is an antecedent? An antecedent is the word to which the pronoun helps. An antecedent is the word that the pronoun is taking the place of. Now, as the text says, usually pronouns work with antecedent, but an antecedent does not necessarily precede the pronoun. What I'm trying to say is that the antecedent, in other words, the noun, may usually be before the pronoun, but there are cases in which the pronoun is used before the noun. Let me give you an example. When the woman arrived, she said good morning. Over there you have the pronoun she. And the antecedent for she is woman. Now, but I could also say this. When she arrived, the woman didn't greet anybody. When she arrived, the woman didn't greet anybody. See? In this case, I am using the pronoun before the antecedent. That is done all the time. We do it all the time. I do it, you do it. There is no problem with that. Now, the next point is a little bit more interesting. It says, what is more, these are not absolutely necessary to use pronouns. Sometimes I use pronouns and I don't use an antecedent. An example, I just did it. And I just did it again. The use of the pronoun I. The use of the pronoun you. The use of the pronoun she. If you can see the person, if both of you are talking about a girl or a woman, and then you talk to your friend, hey, she looks particularly happy today, right? You don't need to say the pronoun. You don't need to say, hey, Jessica looks particularly excited today, or hey, Mario apparently got a very good grade in the last exam. We do not necessarily do that. I'm sorry about the noise that is going on right now outside. Sorry about that, but that's the way these things go. Anyway, let's move on. The types of pronouns. See, the good thing about pronouns is that, as I told you, they are a closed class. We only have 10 different classes of pronouns. We have subject pronouns, object pronouns, possessive pronouns, reflexive pronouns, intensive pronouns. I am going to stop there for a while. Now, there's a reason why I have classified the first 5 pronouns in this row and the other 5 pronouns in the next row. And that is because the subject, object, possessive, reflexive, and intensive pronouns, they are related. All of them have some relation. We have a subject pronoun that has a sort of equivalent as an object pronoun. We have a subject pronoun that has an equivalent as a possessive pronoun, and as a reflexive pronoun, and as an intensive pronoun. See? That is why they are classified together. Now, in the other 5 pronouns, we have reciprocal pronouns, demonstrative pronouns, interrogative pronouns, relative pronouns, and indefinite pronouns. Sorry, I had to pause the video for a couple minutes because it was getting too noisy outside. But anyway, now I want you to check. Let me see over here. We go. Subject pronouns. A subject pronoun is a pronoun that takes the place of a subject. Makes sense, right? Whenever you have a subject and you want to use a pronoun as the subject, you use one of these 7 subject pronouns. You can see them there: I, you, he, she, it, we, they. And using any other kind of pronoun as the subject is sometimes possible, but not an object pronoun. See, an object pronoun, let's go back. See, here we have subject pronouns. They act as subjects. That's it. We have object pronouns, and they act as objects. They cannot act as subjects. And that is a very common mistake that many people commit. Sometimes people use a subject pronoun as an object pronoun, and that cannot happen. You cannot use either an object pronoun as a subject pronoun. I think you get the point. I mean, there are possibilities, excuse me, for another pronoun to act as the subject. For example, a relative pronoun can be a subject. An indefinite pronoun can be a subject. The roles of the pronouns are not relegated in many cases to one particular function in the sentence. But check here that they are named specifically as subject pronouns and object pronouns and possessive pronouns, those that show possession obviously, reflexive pronouns and intensive pronouns. You will see that reflexive and intensive pronouns are very closely related. They are actually the same pronoun. Anyway, let's go back to subject pronouns. Here you can see some examples. They never saw it coming. They is the subject pronoun. It is taking the place of the subject. Who never saw it coming? They. That's the subject. You don't say them. Them never saw it coming. That's a horrible mistake. We don't do that. We should have accepted the deal. Open the door. It is I, your cousin. Now, I know what you're thinking. Hey, look, that doesn't make sense, that last example. Open the door. It is I, your cousin. Doesn't make sense, right? Well, yeah, I understand what you might be confused about this, but let me tell you this. I is taking the place of what? Look at the verb. It's a linking verb. It is what? I. It answers the question what. So, why shouldn't we say, open the door, it is me, your cousin? And I want to make it clear, many people say that. Many people in the United States, many people in El Salvador, the ones that speak English, of course. Many people say that, but it's not academically correct. Is it acceptable? Is it doable? Yes, it is doable. It is acceptable in some circumstances, but it's not academically correct. Why? Because that is not an object. That I, in that precise sentence, is not an object. It's a predicate nominative. Remember predicate nominatives? And what does the predicate nominative do? Exactly. A predicate nominative renames the subject. Yes? So, it is an uncommon structure, but that is why we cannot say, well, we do say it, but it's not fully correct to say it is me, your cousin, because that I would be a predicate nominative. And well, you know the subject pronouns, and you are very familiar with them. It's one of the first things you learn in your English classes, right? Now, that brings us to the next kind of pronoun we are going to study, which is object pronouns. Now, an object pronoun, what it does is to take the place of an object, right? What kind of objects do we have? You know what kind of objects we have. We have direct objects, indirect objects, objects of prepositions, objects of gerunds, objects of present participles, etc. Yes? Now, check out the theory over there. Although the subject pronoun is used as a predicate nominative, as I just explained a couple seconds before, it is becoming more and more common to use an object pronoun to perform such role. Now, see the examples over there. The Wehrmacht advanced silently on us. You tell me to be quiet. It is me who loves you. Now, let's check the first example. The Wehrmacht advanced silently on us. Us, as you can see on the chart, is an object pronoun. And what is its function in this sentence? Well, what is before us? On. It's a preposition. The Wehrmacht advanced silently on who? Us. Us is the object of the preposition on. You tell me to be quiet. Me is the direct object of this sentence. And it is me who loves you is the case I told you. It's not fully correct, but many people are doing it. And I'm afraid that time has run out for this video. And I will continue explaining about possessive pronouns in the next video.